Hi, boys and girls. It's Mr. Yates, and today I'm going to be going over the answer to the Friday word problem of the day test from April 3rd. We're going to go ahead and go over this one. As with always with the word problem of the day test, it's always based on a word problem that we did previously. So hopefully you were looking back at your old word problems to give you some ideas, or maybe you already knew how to do this one without that. But hopefully for both of those, it should have been something that you were able to use your old resources to figure out. Let's go over it together. And again, if you have any questions about it, just feel free to email me or Ms. Garcia. First of all, I'm going to read it out and then we'll go over it after we put down our answer sentence. Reed is going on a road trip. Before he leaves, he stops to gas up his car. He puts 5 gallons of gasoline in his car. He pays with a $20 bill and gets $5.15 back in change. How much does 1 gallon of gasoline cost? Let's go ahead and we'll go through an answer sentence. I'm looking at that question. How much does 1 gallon of gasoline cost? And I'm going to go ahead and write down. And if you notice, boys and girls, I'm not using lined pieces of paper today because I have a bunch of printer paper that came out of my printer and I want to recycle it. So I'm using the back side of the paper. And if you're in the same situation and you don't have lined paper and you need to use a blank piece of any paper, that's fine. The important thing here is you're just writing down the information that we need for aims. However paper you use is okay. So I'm going to take a look at my first question. It says, how much does 1 gallon of gasoline cost? So the keywords here are going to be, of course, 1 gallon of gasoline or gas. Either one is okay. 1 gallon of gasoline is, and then since I noticed in the word problem they talk about money in dollars, I'm going to make sure that I use the dollar sign here in my question or my answer sentence. And I'll leave a blank right there for it and a period. And that's all we need to do for the answer sentence. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out my model. Well, I know I'm going to be talking about gasoline and money, but it looks like the big thing here I want to talk about is money. And whose money is it going to be, boys and girls? If you said Reed's, you're correct. So I'm going to put here Reed's gas money. Make sure on yours, boys and girls, that you did the same thing. You labeled the unit bar and use a starting line right here. Now, I notice that there's only one Reed's gas money, so I'm only going to be using one unit bar here. Make sure you draw it big enough so that you can make all the markings that you need to, but you don't go all the way to the edge because you want to leave room at the end here for the total amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it, and now I think I'm ready to go ahead and start working on my word problem. Well, the first sentence is Reed is going on a car road trip. I already used the word Reed, and the road trip part I really don't need to use unless you used here Reed's road trip gas money, and that's fine. Before he leaves, don't really need anything there. I'm going to cross that out. He stops to gas his car up. Again, we don't really need those in our model. Now here comes some stuff that we will probably need. He puts 5 gallons of gasoline in his car. Now I read this problem already, so I know that that's not all that his money is going toward. So before I divide up the unit bar into 5 parts, I'm going to keep reading to see what else I need to do. So I'm going to leave that uncrossed out. I'm going to skip and go to the next sentence and then come back to it. He pays with a $20 bill and. I'm going to stop at the word and I'm going to look at that. He pays with a $20 bill. Is that all the money or some of the money? Yeah, it's all the money. So I'm going to put that at the end of the unit bar or the out or inside the unit bar. Yep, inside the unit bar. So here we go. I'm going to put it inside. Did I say inside? I meant to say outside the unit bar. Sorry about that, boys and girls. So I'm going to go ahead and put down here a dollar sign. And I'm going to zoom in on this because it looks a little small on my end on the document camera. So I want to make sure you can see it. So this is $20. I'm going to put that on the outside of the unit bar at the end. And you can just see here. Let's see, he pays a $20 bill. So we could say $20 total. Paid, that's how much he gave to the person at the gas station. And now we can go ahead and look at the rest of this and decide what we're going to do with the unit bar. Now, if I keep going, it says, and gets $5.15 back in change. So that means he didn't use all of the money for gas. He got some of it back. So I'm going to go at the very end here, and I'm going to put, now $5.15 is about a quarter of $20. So I'm going to put it right about here. Check your unit bar, boys and girls, and make sure that you didn't like make this really a huge part of the $20. It should be a fairly small amount. So I'm going to put the $5.15 in here. And then I'm going to put here, let's see, they call it change. So I'm just going to call it change. You got $5.15 back in change. If I can squeeze in a dollar sign, great. If not, no worries, because we already know we're talking about dollars, and we'll use that in our answer signs. So I'm going to cross out that $5.15 in change. Now that I know that he didn't spend all of his money on the gas, I can now go ahead and and I put in the change. So I'm going to go back to my, he puts $5 gallons in the gasoline in his car. Now I'm going to mark up the unit bar. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at that 5 gallons, and I'm going to divide this remaining part of the unit bar into 5 parts. I want to try to make them even size because I want to make sure that I want to show them as equal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So perfect. I've got 5 equal parts. And I might just, you should have put something like 1 gallon, gallon 2, the 3rd gallon, the 4th gallon. Yes, I know my G's and 6's look a lot alike. It's something I need to work on with my handwriting. But just as long as you make sure you mark them as gallons, you can also put here 5 total gallons. Great. So I've got that all in there. I'm going to cross it out. Is there anything I left unmarked? Well, yes, there is. There's that last sentence. How much does 1 gallon of gasoline cost? So when I look at this, I can look and go to my first gallon and know that that's what we want to find out. We want to know what that one question mark is, the 1 gallon of gas. We also want to put that same question mark in each one of these because each gallon of gas is going to cost the same amount. So we have 5 gallons, 5 question marks because each gallon costs the same amount of money. Since we've got our question mark already in here, we are now going to cross out our word problem. And basically, we're done with it. We can go ahead and close it out. And we'll go ahead and let's close her out. We'll zoom. No, I don't want to see it. So I'm going to close it out. I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger now. So I got some more room. And we're going to go ahead over down here to my expression. Now, my expression can be done a couple ways. What I would have done, probably the best thing for me, probably the best one I would have done was I would have said here, well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 question marks. So I'm going to take 5. Let's see, I could do it one way. I could do 5 times question mark in parentheses plus $5.15 equals $20. I could do it that way. I could also, another way that would be correct is if you take the $20 that he paid and subtract $5.15 first, put that in parentheses, and then divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 question marks. So we'll put 5. It's going to equal 1 question mark. Either one of those is going to be fine, boys and girls. So what will happen here, and I'm going to go ahead and work out the math here. So I will probably use this one because I think I can work on this one and solve this through. I'm going to take 20 and I'm going to subtract $5. And yes, I am going to line those decimals up. I'm going to add a couple zeros here so it's a lot easier for me to subtract. $5.15. Then I go ahead and subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. This becomes a 9. This also becomes a 9. I'm going to drop down that decimal before I forget. And then I'm going to drop down 1 because this is 1 taken away. But I'm not done yet, am I, boys and girls? No, there's some more I need to do. Now I'm going to, well, it really doesn't matter since I don't have lines on this paper to divide. So for those of you, where is he? If you don't have lines on your papers, Shingle says it's okay to not go sideways. But if you do have lines on your paper, Shingle says go sideways. It makes it a lot better. Thank you, Shingles. And you notice I called him Shingles this time by accident. I meant to say Shakes, but I guess I'm thinking about Shingles today. We're gonna go ahead right over here and do a dividing box. I'm gonna put $14.85 inside the dividing box. Then I'm gonna divide it by 5. I'm just gonna go ahead and do some quick division. Can't do anything here. 5 times 2 is 10. Drop down the 4, drop down the 8. That's going to be 9 because that's the closest. 5 times 9 is 45. Subtract, end up with 3. Drop down a 5, that becomes 35. 5 times 7 is 35. And that's great because that leaves me with no remainder, so there's nothing I have to round. I'm just going to have $2.97 is how much each gallon of gasoline cost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it up here and put down here that 1 gallon of gasoline is $2.97. You got the same thing as I did, great. If you're not sure about any part of this or confused about how the model was set up or confused about anything, please go ahead and email either myself or Miss Garcia and we'll walk you through it. Thanks, boys and girls.